So this particular quote, "Be the moth and not the fly," is actually a phenomena that kind of changed my life. It got me thinking, and it got me actually, tracing things backward and understanding a lot about life, a lot about my journey as an entrepreneur, which I'd like to share with you in the limited time that we have today. So before I begin, I would just like to give you, I hope you guys know what a moth is. It's a very interesting creature that, if you see stuck to a light bulb most of the times, or if you see a fire, it's flying, towards it. And in Mumbai, we all know what a fly is. I mean, there are too many of them, so we know that. So the concept here is that I was once deep into a binge watch on YouTube, browsing through literature and poetry, and I came across this, there's this gentleman, a very famous kawal called Ustad Farid Ayaz. He's a poet and a kawal, and he shared this very interesting story called, the story of the moth and the fly, which I'll share with you in a short time, and I'll tell you how that translates into, my life and how it can change yours as well. So, Ustad Farid Ayaz said that there was a time when flies got together after a lot of deliberation, and they, went to the king of moths, and they told the king of moths that why are we called flies and makhis, where we can fly the same height and the same distance as the moths? Why are the moths called in Urdu Parwana, which is such a beautiful name? And why are we looked down upon? We can do the same things that a moth can do. So the king of moths, told the flies that fair enough. If you want to be called the moth, do what a moth does, which is go and find light and go and hunt for light, because that's exactly what a moth does every single day. So the flies, went to different villages. They spent the entire night, and they came back early in the morning, and they went proudly to the king of moths and said that uh, we saw a lot of light. Saw a funeral in one village. We saw camping fire in one village. We saw light bulbs and electricity in one village, and we saw a lot of lights. And we're here back to report it to you. And now you must. I mean, wait. Let's wait for the moths to come back, and you tell us who's more deserving of such a beautiful description and name, flies or the moths. And it's your decision. We'll wait for it. And that's when the king of moths said that the decision has already been made. If you were a moth, if you were, truly in love with what you were doing, you would never fly back for a certificate from me. The moths are moths because they never return. When they find something they like, they are not even cared about what they're called. They care about no title, they care about no certification, they care about nothing else but being one with the light. And that's exactly what I'm here to say. My name is Yash Chandiramani. I am the founder of a creative agency called Advertise. Uh, I am a self-proclaimed moth in the advertising and marketing industry, which means I love what I do and I don't care much beyond what I do. And it completely changed my life. And my problem with the world today, especially with corporate India, is that there are far too many flies and there are very, very few moths. Uh, think about it. All of us in the Indian education system have been taught how to answer. None of us have been taught how to solve. You guys will look for courses so that it looks good on your CV. You'll pick a specialization because it's more scoring. You'll look for certificates at every stage. You look for experience because it looks good. Even your hobbies are stuff that's is socially acceptable and things that other people are doing. And that's exactly what my problem is with the country, the world, how we are shaping up, is that we are too many flies and actually very, very few moths. Very few of us love what we do. We're all, I mean, you're sitting here, you're from privilege. How many engineers do you know who are obsessed with engineering, obsessed with building a bridge, obsessed with infrastructure? But yet, we want infrastructure that's way ahead of its time. We want bridges that develop in 2 years. We want a lot of stuff, but there are very few people who are in love with what they're doing. So before I tell you how being a moth is great, and you should be in love with what you're doing and that kind of passion that you should have, let me tell you about how being a moth changed my life personally. I led to start, an digital advertising company. We won ton of awards, even though I never really cared about, or we applied it, and we started winning a lot purely because we were in love with the work that we were doing. I used to be a problem child. I had got suspended more number of times in from this very college when I was in junior college than I could, than my parents could, imagine. I was a problem in school. I was a problem in the college that I was in between, which was my engineering college, and I hated to study. And after I found what I loved, I actually started studying so much that I went and found my favorite marketing author, flew down and trained under him purely in the subject that I love. And that's how I believe that, my life has completely changed. That's a very interesting picture. I drive 2 hours from my home to teach on a weekend where I used to love weekends because I used to sleep. But I drive 2 hours to teach the subject right away here. Once I reached and there was no classroom available, so this was a picture that had gone viral inside college where I was teaching in the corridor. That's how much I got obsessed with my work and with my, if you can't guess by the tone of my voice, I love what I do, and I feel that I'm good at it. And it only happened because I didn't care about validation and certification and any external acceptance. Of course, loving what you do and not seeking certification, they have a lot of challenges, and there are three cons that I have summarized, or, I have realized. I also, asked my wife at home, what do you think is wrong with me? After a long list of three, I could shortlist. One is that I tend to piss people off. If you like what you do, you tend to get a little brash, a little aggressive with your subject. Passion usually seems like aggression to people who are non-believers. So when you're in a room of, and you're talking about what you love, you tend to very aggressively oppose, what others are saying if it's not, agreeing with you. Though I never mean it, but that's what has come to be. If you love what you do, you tend to, piss certain people off. You cannot. I mean, I say this as sweetly as possible, but you cannot suffer fools. Which means, if I know something about a subject and I study it day night, and that's all I think about, and work, my work is all I think about, I can't tolerate someone who has a year of superficial knowledge and has suddenly become, a guru online, or is spreading misinformation. That's something that you tend to get very, very, very annoyed with. That's a very big call. And third is, you tend to not be fun at parties. There's nothing, I mean, my friends can vouch for. I have no knowledge. I don't know about cars. I don't know about your pop culture latest debates. I don't know about the latest music. I have no idea, about so many things. I try to read and I try to keep up, but there's only a handful of things that can fit my mind, and that's usually the stuff that I love to do. The biggest misconceptions I've had, and people have about being, Moth, being not seeking external validation and doing exactly what you love. The first one is money. Everyone, and especially in India, we feel that only the artistic professions are the ones that you do for passion. But if you go down, go to the West, or go to other parts, even some places in India where people are really, really passionate about engineering, surgery, they're passionate about finance, they're truly passionate about research and about what they're doing. Ultimately, and if you see a 30, 40-year career span, it's as tough to make money as a fly than it is as a moth. Maybe the fly makes money initially and it looks very good, but eventually a moth catches up and tends to do very, very well, because there are very few, genuine people who love what they do. So money is absolutely, out of the question. It's a very big misconception. The second one is one true love. And that's another very big misconception. Students come and ask me that, if I love what I do, how can I switch? Or how can, if it's not working out for me, I don't know what else I'll be good at. But that is, again, a very big misunderstanding. If you love what you do, and if you absolutely are in it, but it's not making sense at that time, uh, you can completely shift and do what actually feeds the economic engine of your life. I'll give you another example, and I'll take you through a quick journey of mine, for us to understand. My students won't believe it, but when I was in junior college, I used to have very long hair, ear piercings. I used to be a DJ. I did it for a lot of external validation. I was never really good at it. I didn't win one war of the DJs, whether it was Malhar or Jai Hind or all of this. But I played it at a lot of popular clubs. It was great fun, but I never really enjoyed doing it, and it was purely for validation. When I cleared 12th, I got decent marks, so I took engineering as a very safe bet because I'll get a job, and engineering is very prestigious, socially very accepted in India. I'm talking about 2010, and I hated every moment of it. I spent more time trying to do jugaad to pass than actually studying or attending. I didn't know who my professors were. I didn't care about the subject at all, and that actually messed my life up tremendously. After that, I left and joined BMS in Jai Hind, and I actually started loving the subjects that I studied. I did an advertising internship at a very, very big advertising agency in the world, and I loved what I did. I loved the culture, I loved the campaigns, I loved everything. I made the mistake of asking my senior how much money he makes and how much money his senior makes. And I realized that for me to make a decent amount of money, it's going to take me a lot of time. And I almost became a moth, but I went back to being a fly. And I said, let me go back to, this, there's no future over here. It'll take me at least 20 years to make big money. And I need to make big money. I don't want to, end up like this. So what I did is, pure fate, I ended up in the restaurant business. When I was 20, 21, I started a restaurant, and then that became restaurants and became a couple of bars. I was the youngest restaurateur, self-made restaurateur in India. Uh, and I loved my work. I was an absolute moth. And this is where the point of money and the point of one true love comes in. After 3.5 years of toiling in the restaurant industry, I realized that it's not making economic sense. It's very difficult to make money, and it's absolutely not making economic sense. So I had to exit the business, even though I didn't want to. I had to exit, and I had to pick something where it made economic sense for me. I did the next best thing of Flywood. I went and applied for MBA because I said that's the best thing I should do. I should study an MBA, get certified. Good MBA means good job means good money, and life will be sorted from there. I applied to 10 of the best colleges in the world: Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, Cambridge, Oxford, all of that. And it completely, I got rejected out of 8 or 10 of them. One of them called me all the way and rejected me there. I got waitlisted at one. And then I said, hell with it. I want to be a moth and I want to love what I do. I went back to advertising and said, I don't care whether I make money or what. I want to start my own agency and I want to work. And that actually did wonders for me. I did brilliantly well, for my capabilities. Uh, and then it brought me to the third biggest misconception, which is expertise. And this is a very fly thing to do. I want to become an expert in this and I want to become an expert in 1 year. A true moth remains a beginner, at least mentally, for the longest time in their life. I am happy being a beginner. And this is what I like to tell students, that allow yourself to be a beginner. You will uncover so many talents you have. You don't have to become expert in 6 months, 1 year, 10 years. Till today, I reach out to marketing professors and I ask elementary basic questions because I don't care about their validation. I don't care whether they think I'm smart, but I actually want to learn the subject and I want to do well at it, and I really seek out the knowledge. So allow yourself to be a beginner. That's a big misconception that you have to be an expert eventually. And 5 years you don't be an expert, you want to switch and say that this doesn't work for me. I also get asked a lot, why can't I do the certification and feed into and be a fly? It's great. There are flies do very well. They make a lot of money, and it's not derogatory. It's great. They have wealth, they have family, they have all of this. But no fly has changed the world or changed anything. Apart from just working like a well-oiled machine in the world. They've not changed anything. The world progresses because people love what they do. They love their subject. They're obsessed with it. Three quick things on how to be a moth. Think of what you love doing as students. Would you still be doing if no one understood it and no one really cared about it? There was no designation for it in a drop down menu. Would you still be doing it? And lastly, will you enjoy being a beginner at it for life? And if these are the three questions and answers, then you should actually pick what you're doing. Of course, it should make you money or you can switch. Final verdict, I would always say that in the world, in Mumbai especially, be a moth. We know that there are too many flies around. Thank you so much.